Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Courtney. Today I have got some budget-friendly Easter and spring DIYs, so let's get started. For this DIY, I'm going to be starting with this wooden bunny that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. It was $3.99 with 40% off, and I'm going to take some brown wax and paint it along the edge of the bunny. I picked up this scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, grabbed my wooden bunny, traced around it, cut it out, and applied it to the wooden bunny with some Mod Podge. To pull my sign together, I had picked up this wood round from the Target dollar spot, and my plan was to glue down this bunny and then add a bunch of florals to the base of it. So since I'm working with florals, I grabbed my glue pot. I don't show this or use it very often, but it really is a great little thing. It's from Surebonder, and you just put the pellets in there, and it just makes it so easy because you can just literally dip the florals in there and stick them in without having to hold a glue gun and put it on the end. And it's just an easier little tool. So if you're wondering about it, I will link it down below. And so what I did is I just started to attaching my greenery and florals to the base of my sign. This next project is an easy Dollar Tree DIY. I picked up one of these cloches in the garden section at my Dollar Tree and painted the base of it with folk art paint in the color Clover. Once that was all painted, I had these 3 carrots that I'd gotten from Dollar Tree, and I started by hot gluing them together so that it would make a little bundle, and then I grabbed some raffia and wrapped it around the carrots. You could use twine here as well, or even ribbon if you prefer. Once my carrots were all tied up, I took some Dollar Tree moss and I hot glued that down to the base of my cloche. Now, I was going to make a little sign to put in there that said like carrots for sale, kind of on a little picket, but I opted not to, but you certainly could do that. And my last step was just to hot glue the carrots down to the base and then put the lid on, and this is ready to be displayed in a tier tray, a coffee table, or even a bookshelf. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I started with this leftover date night sign from Hobby Lobby. You could use any sized sign for this project. I ripped off the heart, and then I took some Easter scrapbook paper that I had. Now this one, I know I talk about it all the time, but at Hobby Lobby they have something called the 5-season pack, and every year they have one, and that's where this paper came from. It's got all kinds of paper for the whole year. So I just took a glue stick and glued down the scrapbook paper, and then I grabbed a wooden bunny from Dollar Tree and I filled in the hole and then went ahead and painted it with some Truffle Waverly chalk paint. I wanted my bunny to kind of look like a chocolate bunny, so to achieve that, I took some glossy Mod Podge, make sure that it's glossy, and I painted 2 coats of this on there, and it gave it that whole chocolate bunny sheen that I was going for. Once that was dry, I took some pink ribbon, and first I just took a piece and I guess made a collar. I don't know what you want to call it. I mean, it's not a collar, but you know what I'm saying. And I hot glued that down, and then I just tied a bow and hot glued that to the center of the piece of band or collar or whatever you want to call it. The last step was to take my bunny and hot glue it to the center of my sign, and I just left mine plain, but if you wanted to hang this up on a wall, you could add a beaded hanger to the top. You could also add some little mini speckled eggs and some Easter grass to the bottom if you wanted to dress it up a little bit more, but that's it. This sign is ready to go. All right, now this project is a project I promised you that was coming if you watch my mystery box. This is another version of the house key holder. It's going to hold more keys. It's a little more substantial, and it's totally spring themed. Now, I had two different ideas, so I did start by painting the houses white. I thought I was just going to go with the whole white and neutral looks like I kind of did for the mystery box, but I really didn't like it, and so I did paint them white, but you don't need to do this step. And then I decided, let's go spring on this. So I took a shade of pink, a shade of green, and a shade of blue, and I painted each of the houses. Starting with the pink house, I sketched out a door and some windows. I painted the windows with some elephant gray by Waverly chalk paint. The door I painted brown, and then I took some white paint and I guess trimmed out or kind of embellished the windows with that paint. I added some green to the base of the windows along with some little gray dots around the door, and then just using the opposite end of my paintbrush, I put dots on the green to make flowers, and I just used different colors, yellow, red, purple, to get it to look like some flowers. Continuing to paint this, I put two white dots for the doorknobs, and then I also, actually, I think that was, it was silver lining gray, not white, sorry about that. And then in between the little dots that I put around the door, I went in with a little bit more paint just to kind of make it look like it was stones that were placed there. And then on the bottom of the house, in the front and on the sides, I went in and added more green and flowers just to make it look like a house in the springtime. For the greenhouse, I wanted it to have a little bit of dimension, so I grabbed 3 of these little wooden pieces. They came in a mixed wooden piece bag that I got from Kristen K actually a long time ago in a mystery box, and I was trying to figure out what size I wanted to use, and I opted for the smaller ones. I painted them again with that steel gray paint by Waverly and embellished them with white paint, and then hot glued them down directly to my house. And for the blue house, I again sketched out some windows, painted them gray, and embellished them with some white paint. I took my 3 houses and I glued them together. I did use super glue to make sure that it was strong and sturdy. I continued the bushes in the front, same thing with the flowers. And then on the blue house, I wanted to add a door to it, so I took another wooden piece that I had and stained it with some brown wax and hot glued that directly to the door. And then once that was all finished, I looked at the roofs and was trying to decide, okay, what do I need to do with the roofs? And I ended up doing some more brown wax on top of the roof. So probably do that step before. I mean, it wasn't hard to do it with them glued together, but I'd probably recommend just making sure your house is completely painted before you glue them. I was just excited to get them put together. Now I needed to work on the base. This is just a 1x2 scrap piece I had in my garage. I took some brown wax and covered the entire thing and then attached it to my houses with some wood glue. You could also secure it a little extra by using a nail gun if you wanted to, but just keep in mind wherever you punch those nails, make sure they're not in the spots where you're going to end up screwing in your hooks. Once that was done, I marked out where I wanted my hooks to go and just used my rotary tool to start the hole, and then it was really easy just to hand twist those hooks directly into the base, and then this was finished. Now, as far as putting it on the wall, I would recommend using the 3M, the Velcro picture hangers. Just make sure that you pick one that holds enough weight. I would probably use 3 of them just to guarantee, depending on how heavy your keys are, that you put on there. If you do put a picture hanger or some type of screw in like sawtooth hanger or something on the back, just keep in mind that it's not going to be flat against the wall and the top is going to be kind of sticking off, and so I would recommend just using the 3M strips. But this is ready to go and keep all your keys contained in a cute little setting. And of course, if you wanted to, you could even take this as far as making 4 different sets of houses for each of the seasons. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I started with one of these chalkboard easels, and I grabbed some brown wax and I painted the legs of the easel along with the edge all the way around the chalkboard. Now I'm seasoning this chalkboard because I made a decal on my Cricut to put down on this, and sometimes it's impossible to make them stick. I don't know what it is about it, but this seems to help. So I just took this step to put some chalk over it, and then I wiped it off. If you don't have a Cricut machine, I did make this into a printable, and you can Mod Podge this printable directly onto the sign as well. Once my decal was done, I grabbed a mini clothespin that I got from Dollar Tree and I hot glued it directly to my sign. Then I grabbed any of the pastel color cardstock that I had in hand and cut them into rectangles that would fit on my sign. I also grabbed some scissors that would allow me just to kind of cut the edges and make them a little more snazzy, I guess you could say. And then I opted to go ahead and just handwrite the verses that I wanted to put on here. You certainly could print some out if you wanted to do that and go that route as well. And then this sign is ready to be displayed anywhere in your home. I hope you enjoyed today's videos of some spring and Easter DIYs. Let me know down below which one of these was your favorite. Also let me know this, when it comes to, I guess, decor in your home, are you more team bunny or team egg? Do you have more egg stuff, bunny stuff, or perhaps you have nothing? I would love to know kind of what you like to decorate with this time of year. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Here are some more videos you might enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!